Welcome everyone, Costin here on Serious Gaming with my Total War Rome 2 campaign plan for the Arverni and Iceni factions. I'll be covering both of these factions together since they're rather close on the campaign map. The Arverni are in central Gaul and the province of Aquitania, whereas the Iceni are in the Britannia province in the British Isles. Okay, I'll start off with the Arverni. They start off at war with the Aedui, who controlled by Bracti, the site of the famous battle between Julius Caesar and the Helvetii tribe, which are actually present on the campaign map in the Raetia and Noricum province. That's directly to the east, and they're allied with two tribes in that province. So together, the Helvetii, the Nori, and the Arieti form a sort of tribal alliance there. So taking them out would be a rather big challenge. But anyway, as the Arverni, you benefit from gold crafting, you rely heavily on infantry, and you also have a bonus to diplomacy, which is going to come in very handy considering you're surrounded by so many factions. Now, as Carthage, you have a lot of options at the beginning because of how your starting positions. You have 4 territories, one in Corsica, one in Sicily, one in Africa, and one in the Iberian Peninsula. You have a lot of options, and you don't have that many factions to piss off right next to you at near your starting positions. As the Arverni, you do have a lot of factions that you can piss off and pretty much end up in a situation where you're at war with 7, maybe even 10 factions at the same time. Let's just say that would be rather unpleasant. And that's where the diplomacy bonus comes in handy, because the way I personally play my campaigns in Total War games is I generally try and rush things. I don't sit back on my ass several turns building a force. No, I go in as fast as I can, as hard as I can to conquer as much territory before I encounter a strong enemy army. And that's what I'd recommend you do as the Arverni. Because of the diplomacy bonus, that means you can get away with conquering more territories before you piss off the factions next to you and they declare war on you. You start in the Nemesis province. You're allied with the Pictones, who control Limanum. And you have the Vivici and the Aquitania province to the south, who control the provincial capital. You might want to strike an alliance with the Vivici, especially since they control... they don't control. They have 2 allies in the Tarraconosis province of northern Iberia. So you don't want to piss them off, because you'd end up in a you'd end up in a war against 3 factions, besides the Aedui, who you start off at war with. My recommendation: get the Pictones to help you out against Aedui. They're your allies, but they don't start off at war against the Aedui. So get their help. If they provide it, you might be able to take out the Aedui in 2-3 turns. Depends on how it goes. Depends on your starting armies, their starting armies, all those factors there. Depends on how difficult it is to take settlements as well. The Aedui start off allied with the Carnutes faction, who controls Cenobum. Now, the Carnutes may not be a threat. They might intervene to save the Aedui, they might not. They do start at war with a faction in the Belska province to the north. So what I'd say, take out the Aedui as fast as you can, then move your army through the Pictones territory and take the westernmost province of Gaul, which has the wonder of Karnag, with the settlement of Dari or Tum. The faction there is neutral. It's not allied with anyone. It also has timber production inside the province. Once you have control over the Celtica province, hopefully you will not be at war with anyone else by this point, you should move into the Belska province, take it out, take the settlement of Treverorum, and then Nemitosena. Bloody hell, I'm butchering these names. These 2 factions in the Belska province, they're allied with each other, so you'll have to take both of them on at the same time. Once that's done, take out Germania Minor and move an army in the Provincia, or maybe 2 armies in the Provincia province to the south, where Tolosa and Massalia are. Massalia actually allied itself with Rome historically, I might add, and Massalia is modern-day Marseille in southern France. Anyway, move your armies there, take Provincia, take Germania Minor. And then once you do that, by which point you should be, you shouldn't be at war with anyone else unless they decide to declare war on you. Though try and maintain friendly diplomatic relations with the Helvetii. You don't want to go at war with them, nor do you want to go at war with any of the factions in the Northern Iberian Peninsula or Cisalpania by this point. Once you have all of these provinces under your control, the Celtica, the Belsica, the Germania Minor, and the Provincia province, all of these under your control, then you've got quite a few options. You can move into Germany further to try and even take out the Suebi. Once you take out the Suebi, you have got a lot less opposition in Germany. This, I'm going on off the assumption that major factions are going to be the toughest nuts to crack. So, if you take out the Suebi, things are going to be a lot easier for you. Or you can move in Cisalpania to try and take on Rome itself. You might form an alliance with the Helvetii. You might even form a confederation of tribes with the guys in Cisalpania, go for their territory, take on the Roman Republic. But what I'd recommend you do is ignore the Suebi, ignore Rome, unless you're forced to, unless they declare war on you, or unless some other faction declares war on you. But what you should focus on is taking out Britannia and then Caledonia et Hibernia. Britannia has the Iceni and 2 minor factions. By the point you've taken out Celtica, Belsica, Germania Minor, and Provincia, I expect the Iceni will have conquered at least 1 or 2 regions in Britannia, if not the entire province. So you're probably going to have a massive fight on your hands. If they haven't, then it's a lot easier. Take out the iron, take the iron production, take Stonehenge, and then take out the Iceni. Then move north, take Eboracon for the leather production in that province, and then move north. The 2 factions in Caledonia and Hibernia, they start off at war with each other, so by the point you get there, one of them should have triumphed. If not, take them both out. There's fish production, and with Britannia and most of Gaul under your direct control, you're in a very good position to do whatever the hell you want, to take on whatever faction you want. By this point, very likely you'll be at war with several factions in Europe, and you'll have to divert armies from the Britannia front even before you capture all of it to deal with these threats. Though you should focus on capturing Britannia, it gives you a very stable, safe base. Despite all the claims by Creative Assembly about AI improvements, I don't see the AI posing such a big threat to Britannia. Besides, it's quite far away from most factions. I mean, there's the Germans who might pose a threat, but I suspect the Germans will spend a lot of time and energy fighting each other. And what you should do is make sure they keep fighting each other and not you. As for the Iceni, well, you don't have the diplomatic bonus of the Arverni. In fact, you have a tribe crazed by war. You gain bonuses the more armies you have on the war front, and you start off at war with a faction in the west of Britannia called the Demete, who have iron production in their province, which you'll want to capture for yourself. Move on them, take them out very quickly, rush them pretty much if necessary, build a few units, take them out, then move south to take Stonehenge from the faction controlling Isca, and then finally take Eboracon, and then move north in Caledonia et Hibernia, take out the 2 factions, or 1 faction if someone has triumphed there, take them out. Either way, take control of the British Isles. Then you've got quite a few options. You can move in Gaul to take control of the Wonder there in the Celtica province, though that might put you in conflict against the Arverni. But it's a Wonder, it's worth it. You can try and invade the Celtica, Belsica, and Magna Germania province, or Germania Minor province, or all of them, all at the, you can invade all these provinces at the same time if you have the armies. You benefit from having as many armies as you can on the war front. So the maximum limit of armies at the beginning of the game is 3. Each faction will likely start off with 2, maybe 3, depending on the faction. I expect someone like Egypt will very likely start with 3. Someone like Carthage as well. Someone like Rome, 3 armies, if not more. But I expect most factions, especially those with one starting territory like the Iceni, Arverni, to start off with 2, Suebi as well. And by the point you've gotten control over the entirety of the British Isles, you should be able to get 4, maybe even 5 armies, which you can use to invade the Celtica, Belsica, Germania Minor, and maybe even Magna Germania, if you so desire. Personally, I'd avoid fighting the Germans as much as possible until you've conquered Gaul. Then once you've conquered Gaul, though you should avoid the Helvetii Confederation in Cisalpania, once you conquer Provincia, Aquitania, Celtica, Belsica, and Germania Minor, you've got options. You will end up at war with northern Spain, but they can be dealt with by this point. If you manage to take Bordigala, you'll be in a very good position. It would seem to me that the Iceni are a faction that rely a lot that get a lot of bonuses, at least from what's stated on the Creative Assembly site, from having as many armies as possible on the war front. So keep pumping those units and sending them to the front. Don't be passive. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Costin here, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more.